Behind the scenes, they had created a very intricate network of organizations that were fundamentally trying to create a grassroots presence and undermine our democracy by changing the rules that we have been playing by all up until now, where one person equals one vote.
The long-range objective of the society has been summarized as less government,
So what we have done here is we have created a culture of scientific exaggeration.
David Koch was the Libertarian Party's vice presidential candidate. He wanted to eliminate corporate taxes altogether. He wanted to abolish Social Security. Koch even called for getting rid of public schools entirely.
Right before the election, I obtained documents. It was a memo and an invitation.
Over the last 10 years, I've learned that twice a year, David and Charles Koch, they've invited the Glenn Becks and the Bill O'Reillys and the leadership, particularly on the Republican conservative side,
to come to these very private, multi-day retreats, gated resorts.
Resorts in Aspen in Colorado or Palm Springs.
Planning for the next election.
To coordinate their spending and to spread the conservative movement.
They talk about how to dismantle environmental regulation, they talk about how to do micro-targeting for voters, they talk about policy, they talk about money and raising money to influence the next election.
This is right in our backyard. They're about to come to Palm Springs in January. We got to organize to do something. And so what started out as a single person reading a newspaper article and thinking to themselves, hey, what if we were to drive out to the desert and stand out there with signs, turned into thousands of people showing up in the desert. And it had to have an in-person response where people could finally say that our democracy has to be based on regular citizens' voices and not on special interests being able to buy everything. The Kochs are quite used to being able to control exactly who has access to them and what is told about them, and they were really flustered by the idea that the public might actually be able to see inside the king's castle.
What's with all the new faces?
We were surprised because when we got there, there was a row of private security as well as some CHP who were entirely decked out in riot gear. But they were definitely geared up for something far more violent than people holding up signs and coming up with cute little puns on Koch's names.
If you continue to advance, we will arrest you for trespassing.
Greenpeace is here to send a message to the Koch brothers and the attendees of their secret strategy meeting to get their dirty money out of our democracy and stop blocking progress on climate and clean energy policies. Koch foundations have dumped tens of millions of dollars into organizations that deny climate science and create public doubt about global warming.
We're here today to protest the Kochs. Pretty much they're using all of their money and all of their ability to influence public policy all throughout the United States. They're making sure that they can maximize their own private profit at the expense of the American public. So we're here to protest that and to make sure that the American public knows a little bit more about what's going on.
I hear a voice from the back of the room.
Mr. Koch, I get that you and your corporation don't want to be a part of our clean energy future. That's your free market choice, but that doesn't mean you get to wreck its development for everyone else. I say that if you are going to try to hurt the economy of a state that you don't even live in, then you ought to have the courage to explain yourself in person. I'd like to challenge you to a public debate. You pick the terms, and I'll meet you anytime.
I'm going to Wichita, far from this opera forevermore.
We're getting ready to walk up to the front door of one of the largest privately owned companies in the entire country. I hope that I can actually meet Charles Koch and that he would accept my debate challenge.
You know where the easement's at, so you're on private property.
Right.
You don't have a legitimate business reason for being here. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and leave.
All right.
But this will get to Mr. Koch.
Okay. Right. Do you know when we'll expect a response from him?
That's all I have to say. I don't have any other words.
I mean, he instructed us to where the easement's at. So there are a lot of things going through my head. But the fact that he had a representative out here to meet us this morning lets us know that he did see the challenge. But why would he not respond? He failed to respond, but he made sure that he had everything planned out here today. A representative, security guards. I mean, I don't believe that I made that debate challenge with that much hostility.
We had enough of your pollution in our lives, and we will not tolerate your continual pollution in our politics. Our democracy, our health, our prosperity should not be in the hands of these polluters, bankers, and secret billionaires meeting behind those closed doors right across the street. What we need is a power shift, and that begins by taking corporations out of our democracy. It's right there in our Constitution. We the people, not we the corporations.
What's really fascinating is that we happened to catch, with a long-distance telescope camera, one of the Koch brothers, I think it was David Koch, sitting up in the balcony, watching down at the protesters with a look of severe indigestion. And I don't know if that was something that he had just eaten or if he was just really thrown off by the fact that there were so many people right across the street who really wanted to shine the light on what the Koch brothers were trying to do up until now in total secrecy.